Hey guys, it's Matt. One of the main parts of this video is your comments and the prediction that I'll ask you to make in the comments. I'm going to give you my take on this over the first 15 minutes or so and then go into more detail. But if you could hold back your comment, because I'll ask that the comments be exclusively about predictions as to where you think, quote, the movie or entertainment industry will be in 3 years regarding all this AI and the technological advancements that are coming. So to me, just to jump right into it, I'll give you my basic premise, which would be insane if my family stumbled upon this video or Tony did. My premise, though, to us or most of us now, it's crystal clear. There has to be a relationship, of course, between Disney destroying all its own franchises and products and ruining The Little Mermaid and ruining Pinocchio, and everything's horrible for 15 years and nobody can make a good movie. Nobody can make a good TV series anymore. The Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings, is one of the worst things anybody's ever watched. There has to be a relationship between that and the exponential advancements in AI. In less than a year, we've seen multiple large language models like ChatGPT and Bard, video editing tools all incorporate AI now. It all started, of course, with the image creators, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, DALL-E. There is AI voice that can basically mimic anything. There is the way to bring it all together through the VR glasses or the headsets or whatever Apple's working on. They seem to be more focused on the hardware. All of this in less than a year. Now, to us, that's ridiculous. It would maybe make sense if there was one or two companies in each segment, but there's 20 in each segment, and then there's 100 companies behind them producing apps related to that segment of advancement in AI. And it's not just Apple with the headsets and the VR. There's 50 other companies producing gloves. So just like we talked about yesterday, you can feel when you pick things up. So you have, if you go right down to the smallest startups, you have basically 300, 400 companies all kind of working on the same thing that all popped up, at least with a working product. Maybe they've been around for more than 2 or 3 or 4 years, but with a working product or something that you can play with, and everything's being given to us for free. All of this in less than a year. Oh, sure. And our friends would just say, oh, you're one of those people. So what's happening here to me seems so obvious that I'm questioning my own thought process. If it's this simple and this straightforward, I'm thinking I've got to be wrong. That's why I'm asking for your predictions. So on the entertainment side, we'll just, Disney's always getting the focus of everyone's ire, although all the Marvel movies have recently been ruined as well. It's not just Disney, but we'll focus on Disney. All right, they obviously are intentionally destroying all their own properties and franchises through these live-action remakes, of course. Remakes. This one movie reviewer calls it LAR. LAR 17, Pinocchio, destroyed. LAR 18, Little Mermaid, destroyed. Okay, put your hands out like my cousin Vinny. First submission of evidence. The companies are destroying their own products, movie themes, franchises, and beloved characters on purpose. What if my friend Tony's listening to this one? He'd say, honey, I told you he's lost it. Listen to this. Disney is destroying all their own assets on purpose, according to Matt. I couldn't bring him up to speed, and he's on the ship of fools. I could never explain it to him anyway. We know it's all being flushed on purpose because they have a long-term goal and strategy. Not about profits, about distracting and brainwashing a group of people they call the Great Unwashed and taking society to the next level. Of course it's on purpose when you, me, and Greg in a Motel 6 could do better. So that's number one. Number two is we have the writer's strike. And we have right now, at this moment in history, it is the peak of the anger and hatred and ire against the writers who push their woke themes and their social justice warrior themes, and those that manage the creative process, the face of these ruined franchises like Kathleen Kennedy at Star Wars. They're even more despised and hated than the writers, because the writers are mostly nameless and faceless. Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson, they're meant to be dislikable people, because that's the moment of history that we're in. They're meant to absorb everyone's anger like an egregore. So that's piece of evidence or submission number 2. Part 3 is just as all this is happening and the fans are so upset, nobody can make a good movie anymore, nobody can make a good TV show, I'm tired of all this woke stuff and all the Bud Light, it's all part of the strategy. We have these incredible advancements in AI tools. Guys, I can't give you the specifics on it here, but I can give you a 1-minute overview. The number of tools that are related to images, video creation, video editing, creating AI characters, not just art, quote, art anymore. It's off the charts. There's more tools and companies putting, quote, products out than even these guys that they're doing it every day and they love it, like Matt Wolf channel. They can't even keep up with it. In his own video, he said, the submissions to have me look at this and that, there's so many, I turn them away. Now, there's no possible way all of this could come up organically and naturally. It exposes and gives away not Nilk. Every video, what is that? It's Clinton backwards. If you think the bad guys that the truth community has been brainwashed to latch onto as the bad guys are the real bad guys, or you think, oh, the Rothschilds and the secret societies and the Council on Foreign Relations, you've been brainwashed. If you think that's the real bad guy, you've been fooled. There's another bad guy here. It's some sort of collective evil consciousness. It's like the Lochnar. It's an entity of some kind. It's like an egregore. It is very similar to what a Christian calls Satan behind the scenes. It's Clinton backwards. It didn't deserve a good name. So again, it seems so obvious what's happening here. I question whether it can't be this obvious, right? All right, let me just tell you my prediction. Again, I'll look to your comments. I must be missing something. It could not be this simple. But we're so far off the ship of fools, maybe it is this clear to us. Of course, anybody on the ship would think we're crazy. It will be the intentional destruction of their own beloved characters and franchises. And if you even look at Marvel, they killed off half of them at the end of Infinity Wars, Endgame, and all the new stuff like Ant-Man. It's just absolutely horrible. So everything's flushed. Then the AI is positioned to save the day, right? To be the big hero. What is it? Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the... Why don't they call it not Bard? Or Chad. They should call it Mighty Mouse. It's positioning itself to save the day. The first AI film or two will be incredible. People will just beg these studios to get rid of the Writers Guild and the humans. Get the human interaction out, because look what the AI can do. When they could do it all along. Of course, Disney could have made all of these live-action remakes incredible. They could have done it all along. Star Wars, of course they had the capability of making these movies, not maybe as good as the 1977, but better than the prequels or whatever they were called. They could have made them very solid movies. Of course, Star Wars was destroyed on purpose. And these idiot movie reviewers are still blaming bad writing and bad decisions. I mean, come on. It's all being flushed on purpose. And now we know why. The AI at some point, so part of your prediction will be, well, when are they going to do this? Are they going to camp on the back of this writer's strike now? Or is this writer's strike just one of a part of a long-term strategy to get people to even hate the writers even more? Are they not done with their woke themes and their SJW? Will Disney, through LAR, live action remake 20, destroy Snow White? And that'll really piss people off. So part of the prediction is, when will the AI take over everything? But of course, they always want the human element out. They want it to be everything to go as close to the AI, as close to the digital world as possible. Some people may, in their predictions, say they'll never start, even if it's AI, they'll never start making phenomenal movies ever again, because they want people to make the jump all the way to the headset. They don't want people to cozy up to their 2D screens again. That will never happen, some people might say in their prediction. I'm just giving you different ideas. Where does your gut feeling tell you this is going? They might say that VR headset, now that first movie that comes out will be headset only, or that video game, that will be absolutely immersive and spectacular. And it will easily draw the masses into the VR headsets because they will have no other form of entertainment because of the ruination and destruction of everything that has been called a movie in the last 15 years. And think about how ridiculously conspiratorial this would be if my friend Tony did stumble upon this one. He's like, so let me get this straight, man. I mean, let's just mock myself here. Let's just see what he would say. And it would sound insane. It is insane to anybody on the Ship of Fools. Let me get this straight, Matt.
all these movie studios over here, they're not just about shareholder value and profits. They're all working together somehow, and they work for some dark force called the Naughty-Dog. Oh, okay, yeah, right. And they're all destroying their own products and assets and billion-dollar franchises. They're all screwing themselves on purpose. Okay, get the white coats. But then the AI that will come in and start writing the movies, and probably will get assistance from their great imaginative minds, but the great imaginative minds will be in the background. The movie that's wonderful will be positioned as AI produced, or they won't ever have any movies anymore. They'll want people to jump right to the VR headset glasses because all the great content will be reserved for the glasses. And then, so Matt, they're all working together. It's just a strategy. And ultimately, it's to get what they call the human being further into a digital world or immersive environment, which takes them, Matt, do I have this right? That takes them away from their spiritual selves or hides their connection to spiritual self. Matt, I wouldn't give a squirt of piss for your ass right now. Do you know how insane that sounds, boy? It would sound insane to them. But what would be closer to the truth? I would say back to them. So let's just use an example like Bud Light. I would say back to them. So you believe that Bud Light, you know what's happening. They use the rainbow can, and this guy making other choices, lifestyle choices. This guy Dylan, who's very, they use okay, I would say back to Tony. I would say, so Budweiser has no idea, after being in the beer business for 100 years, what their core clientele looks like. They have no idea. Construction workers, men, age group demographics. They've never done a focus group. They've never had an AI program read thumbs up, thumbs down, emails, tweets about the product. They just have no idea. I would say back to those in the Ship of Fools, what their clientele. Well, Matt, they would say, well, certainly they know their clientele. Okay, well, thank you for acknowledging that, person on the Ship of Fools. If they know their clientele, do they think their clientele would take well to a, I don't know what I can say, very flamboyant. Oh, yeah, Bud Light, did you watch the RuPaul? Did you watch the RuPaul Drag Race show last night? You think they would? Oh, yeah, that's really what the Bud Light clientele would want. They just made a mistake. It's so obvious to us. It's all on purpose. It's incredible how the people on the Ship of Fools can't see this. It is without a doubt, times a million, my biggest frustration. I mean, how bad would it have to be for Tony to notice? What if there's a Bud Light ad? A Bud Light, and all it was like a guy on a toilet or something. And he just, I don't know. I mean, how bad would it be where they would say, well, that can't be a mistake. They must have known that wouldn't be well received. It's so insane to us. That's what's this whole reality is so hard for us to deal with. People that have a semblance of common sense left. Just take one look at this guy, Dylan, and nobody in the world that has any common sense left that's not completely on the Not Milk radio station would say that this whatever would be well received. And the people in the Ship of Fools will always have an excuse. I can hear them talking to me now and say, well, Matt, see, every once in a while, a company like Budweiser, Bud Light, they have to explore new markets. Don't they have to go for new clientele once in a while, Matt? They have to just stick to their base. They have to take chances, Matt, to get new types of customers. And you know about this LG, this whole wave that's happening. Now, they didn't have any idea about the backlash that was coming, but they were simply trying to get new customers. Oh, that's what they would say. Yeah. They had no idea about the backlash when in the 1940s, companies brought people in. They did something called focus groups. All you need to do is give them a glass of beer and bring in a few pizzas. You bring 5 people in on either side of the table, and the marketing staff stands behind the focus group, and you watch and listen to see what real customers are saying about this ad campaign or using this spokesperson or this new mascot. Yeah, they just couldn't figure that out. They have AI tools hundreds of millions of times more powerful today than the simple focus group. But remember that scene in Animal House when they're putting the slides up of those that are trying to get into the Delta House, and they put up Larry Kroger, and the one they eventually called Pinto, and they're like, who's in favor of Larry? And they're just like, yeah, we need the dues, and they clap, and then they put up Kent Dorfman's face, And they're like, ah! And they're all like, no, no. And they start throwing shit at Kent Dorfman's. Wait. And, what was it? Hoover stands up. Oh, wait. Kent is a legacy from Harrisburg. His brother was a Delta. That's what the focus group would have done, like Kent Dorfman's face. Then they would have put in Dylan's face up with 5 regular customers on either side of the table. They would go, and start throwing their chips and beer. And the focus group then would have observed this. And then if anything in the world were real, they would have said, you know what? We can't take this chance. We'd like to go to the LG, whatever that. We'd like to get new clients there, but we can't take a risk in pissing off 100 million of our existing clients. And any 2-bit focus group where they would just spend, say, $40 on 2 Papa John's pizzas, they could have figured that out. But people on the Ship of Fools, like my friend Tony, believe that, and these movie reviewers and almost everybody around us, they just make mistakes. The stupid-ass movie reviewers. When are they going to stop making mistakes? When are they going to stop fighting with their fans? Don't they understand this isn't good for business? And then the movie reviewers try to tell them what to do to correct them. It's not a mistake, you idiots. What they can do is obviously being held back on purpose because, again, the first AI movie or completely immersive environment with the headset will be so incredible, so phenomenal, because it needs something. It will be phenomenal on its own to the Ship of Fools, but in comparison to the stinkers that the movie studio has been putting out, in comparison to the form of entertainment that they had been given over the last 5 years, it'll be a savior. The headset, or maybe, again, part of the prediction is, will they go right to headset, or will the AI start making great movies during a 5-year transition period going to the headset? That's, I'll look to your predictions for that. Everything's being held back. I'll give you a great example. I watched it last night. Got an email, HBO Max, or now called just Max, that they have now Avatar: The Way of Water. Avatar 2. I'm fine. I'll watch this last night. What am I supposed to do? Watch the Star Trek: The Next Generation for the 100th time in a row? Fine, I'll check it out. And, okay, it looked, in a way, I thought it looked spectacular. If anybody's going to see it, I'm not going to give anything away. I'm not going to do a movie review. It looked really good, but then at the same time, considering all this advancement in AI and everything that these free tools can do, free tools that you can just play with yourself. If that didn't come out right, you can go on and use these free tools, and or some tools, it's just a tiny little $2 or $5 a month. If all of the video editing power is being given to people in their bedrooms, part of me thought, this movie looks spectacular, but it doesn't look any better than Avatar of 10 years ago. It really is no different. And I thought, yeah, there's no doubt. Even this has been held back. And they use the water, and that's there's a lot of underwater segments, so they're trying to make it look different than the first Avatar because it basically is the same graphics, just a little bit crisper, the 4K or whatever. But I thought with all this AI advancement, this is the best they could do in terms of it being completely believable. There's a difference between crystal clear and believable, like you're really on this foreign planet or whatever. See, it's crystal clear and the flowers are beautiful, but it's just not lifelike enough. Of course, when the first Avatar came out, it was very impressive. But it's just for what's available now, I said to myself, they're obviously holding it back. And I said that about Star Wars when The Force Awakens came out. And I've said maybe before that, they're holding back the best, most immersive, and highest quality computer graphics. I thought because they'll need that for Elon Musk's toaster mission. They'll need the complete lifelike photorealistic believability, which they have that capability now. Where when Elon Musk's toaster goes wherever, that will be just like you're filming it with a handheld camera. It'll be absolutely 100% crystal clear and believable. Then people will think versus what's available from Hollywood, Avatar. Again, there's a total difference between crystal clear clarity and believability. They have one, they do not have the other. But now I'm thinking maybe this is not just being held back, the great computer graphics, and Avatar could have been much more. It's maybe not just about this inevitable toaster mission from Elon Musk, they might be holding it back for, again, the new AI movie will be so great and so immersive, it will just get everybody to go out and buy the headset, or at least accept the AI, and we'll completely get rid of the human element. The writers, if anyone's listening as a writer, and I'm sure many writers are listening to me, no, they don't, but you're done. You're just done. I don't know. Maybe you have 2, 3, 4 more years left. You're absolutely finished. They want the AI doing everything. Kids in school aren't even writing their own term papers anymore. They're using the Chat GPT and the Bard. Remember we looked at that article from the Pennsylvania Gazette, the University of Pennsylvania magazine, where some of the professors were like, well, this is a monster tool, and they'd be stupid if they didn't use it. So universities are trying to figure out, well, you can't keep these kids from using it. They're going to use it. But we talked about that article. Most of the professors, of course, were in denial. Oh, it's not that good. And, they don't want to see what's really coming. I'm sure the writers strike, it's the same way. A big part of the writers strike is probably trying to push back on the use of AI. That would have to be probably the number one thing. I don't know what the official reason is why these writers went on strike. But a note to these writers, typically when you go on strike, there's a little thing you need called leverage. Go study the tapes of Jimmy Hoffa or whatever. You need leverage. See, when your stuff absolutely sucks rocks, you have no leverage to strike. See, we're the union. We can't. Oh, yeah. That's if they're kept around, guys. It's because it's just part of the Not Nilk script. They have no power. The Not Nilk or whatever could get rid of all of them overnight if they wanted to. It's all part of the script in whatever form they're kept around. But you writers, you need leverage. Be like, what's a good example? What is the stupid ass umpires in baseball? They make $400,000 to $500,000 or more a year, and they stand behind home plate, the best seats in the house, and watch a baseball game. They go on strike every so often for whatever more scraps they can get in their contract. But let's just say the guy couldn't even call a ball a strike. It was like the scene in Bull Durham where Tim Robbins throws the ball of 50 feet over the guy's head. It hits the damn mascot, and then the ump's like, strike. I mean, that's how bad the writers in Hollywood are. Be like food preparers in McDonald's going on strike when they can't even put a burger on a bun. It's just like one guy scoops up a bunch of maggots that were in the trash and puts it on a bun. And that's what the writers of Hollywood are. They have no leverage. You have no product. You have no skill. You suck rocks. You have no leverage. If it's brought back or they negotiate scraps here or there, it's all part of the Not Nilk plan. You think you had any leverage, boy? Did you? There's so many other things that expose what's going on here, even things we've forgotten about. Remember the 2001 movie Final Fantasy? For those that don't know, 30 seconds or less. There was a movie that was the first movie ever where all the characters were completely computer produced, CGI. And it was voiced by Alec Baldwin and other big actors. But everything on screen, whether it be the props or the buildings or the spaceships or the faces and smiles and the crying, all of it was computer produced. And it was far beyond any sort of animation or anime. Now, did it look photorealistic? Of course not. It was 2001. If you look into it, they used so many server farms and all this capacity, and it was over budgeted. But okay, if they could do that, and Final Fantasy was very impressive in terms of the facial features of the characters when they would focus right in on them, their smiles, and the human, the quote human that came out of these characters when it was all produced on a computer. This is 2001, guys. And to anybody old like me, that just seems like a few days ago, but this is well over 20 years ago. And when they started working on it, it's almost 25 years since they started working on Final Fantasy. So what kind of gives it away that something strange is going on here is, where was the next Final Fantasy II, 2 or 3 years later, showing improvement? Or another movie with completely digital characters showing improvement, 2005. Another movie in 2007 showing improvement. It all just went away, right? 2009, continuously showing improvement. It's almost like the Not Nilk said, wait a second, we can't go down this road, keep making these type movies like the original one, Final Fantasy, which every 2 years, whether it be even a different studio, we can't have this because it continuously will show improvement on where the CGI or the ability to deep fake a human is going, we have to just get this out of people's minds. It doesn't make any sense why it would just stop after 2001 and not be showing up until now. Does that make any sense? Or would it make more sense that every few years, based on the success of Final Fantasy, someone would try to make another one, but because now the computer graphics or the NVIDIA chips are better, or the servers are better, whatever. It just doesn't make sense why it would all go away. That's like a not Nilk giveaway, isn't it? Again, how absurdly conspiratorial would that sound to your best friend or someone on the ship of fools? Well, let me get this straight. The guy you're listening to said they came out with Final Fantasy in 2001, and all the movie studios, they wanted to keep using the digital characters, but some men in black came in or something and said, no, you can't do this. And guys, that would be insane, of course. But here's something that might make you feel a little bit better about my sanity if you are questioning it like I do to myself every morning when I look in the mirror. We don't go far enough. I don't go far enough. The world is far stranger and crazier than even what I'm talking about. We never go far enough. It's weirder than we first suspect. It's more conspiratorial. It's just no real world could do this. This is a joke. It's given itself away at this point. It's a construct of some kind, and it's breaking down daily. There are other aspects that might be worked into your prediction as to how this writer's strike is being incorporated in the long-term not Nilk strategy. We want to talk about useful idiots. It's these writers right now in the writer's strike. Maybe it will be reported that they got everything they want. They have clauses in their new contract with all the studios that the AI cannot replace them, and there's complete shackles and a governor put on what the AI can do and how Hollywood can use AI tools like ChatGPT to write script, and maybe they'll get everything they want there. Then that is clearly what's happening. If that happens, is then they want people to jump to the headsets, to the movies or the immersive environments, or they're completely flushing. Maybe the entire movie format is being flushed. The entire 2D experience is being flushed. And the writers will get everything they want, but they might already consider it a completely dead medium. And that will just further push people into the headsets. I assure you, in whatever these writers are negotiating right now, there isn't going to be one sentence in their favor about whatever's written or produced in a game for a headset. Absolutely not. So writers, if you're getting everything you're asking for, be wary. Be very wary. They have two representatives and their lawyers and whatever they're doing, their arbitration or mediation or whatever. Maybe there's no meetings at all. It's just part of a script. Who knows? But I'm assuming there's some sort of mediation, and the writers believe they're actually certain there's leverage on their side, and they come out and the representatives say to the others, we asked for this. Did we get it? Yeah. We asked for this shackle in the AI. Did we get it? Yeah. We asked that Disney couldn't use any of these large language models to write. Did we get it? Yeah. We got everything we wanted? Yeah. Well, if that happens, well, then obviously the not Nilk or that's the studios and the corporations, of course, are just a major tentacle of not Nilk. They think 20 years in the future, 50 years in the future. If that happens and the writers get everything they want, again, they're just admitting that the movie format, what you would watch on your television, it's dead, completely dead. And the future is the immersive headset. And that is where potentially the AI will do everything. And the first video game or the immersive experiences for the headsets will be so attractive. Right now, these movie reviewers believe that Disney's making mistakes, and what are they going to do to make money here? They might already be completely looking at the movie model as dead, with just gone. They don't care one bit about it, and intentionally trying to destroy it via the live-action remakes of the Disney movies like Pinocchio. The live-action remake destroyed the original cartoon. The live-action remake of Little Mermaid destroyed the original. They're trying to expedite the process of people potentially going to the headset by actively themselves working to destroy their own medium, Just maybe the way the television industry buy up radio stations to destroy radio to get people to move more quickly to the television. It's probably happening right now in the transition to the headsets. So guys, that's about all I can come up with. Although my theory has some common elements, it's a little, it's a little bit all over the place. I'm sure there's a few things in the comments where you can tie all these different possibilities together or present some things that I didn't mention. But overall, I think you would agree this is pretty close to the truth. Well, you know what's interesting about it? Every time it gets back to the same two sentences. The tactic of the Nautilus at this moment in time to support the overall strategy is move the human closer to the digital environment, to merge with the digital in some way. The overall strategy has existed for hundreds or potentially thousands of years to simply disrupt the real human's experience, to hide spiritual self, and then to disrupt the journey to do what spiritual self once achieved in a lifetime. That's the tactic right now, is about the technology, like we talked about yesterday. And the tactic is simply to move, if you can get more people immersed closer to merging with the digital, then that supports the overall two-sentence strategy of the Nautilus. Thanks for listening.